Welcome into SportsSource.tv in our overtime segment, joined by many VFLs here. We start on that end. We got David Ligon, we got Will Overstreet, Daniel Hood, Sterling Hinton. Appreciate all these guys sticking around for this extra segment. This extra segment every week brought to you by one company, two places. One, Smokin' Joe's, located in Alcoa. That's the original name of the company. I've talked to you about them for many years. That's where I get my cigars. I enjoy a good cigar every now and then. That's where I go. But they now have a new club, a new lounge with members benefits where you get your own locker in there. They got poker tables, they got golf games, TVs galore, great leather seating. It's a terrific place to just kind of relax and get away from life or the day or whatever. That is Blue Smoke Cigar, located out there on South Peters Road. It's in a kind of a mall there right across from Rafferty's on that side of the strip mall. It's a big, nice facility. Blue Smoke Cigar. Check it out for yourself. If you enjoy a good cigar, I promise you, you will be impressed with Blue Smoke Cigar. All right. I am just going to open this thing up. I'm going to run through some tweets here. We'll see if some of them are ugly or not. I don't know. Some of these that came in during the show, and I'll just see what you guys say. First question, and this is from Stephanie Welch. Do you think that as the season has worn on and the injuries did too, Tennessee hit a wall, or have they just been who they always were? My answer would be yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think to an extent, I think you could put a foot in both camps. But if we have to pick one, where are you going?
Oh, with injuries, you can't field a football team without players, and our top players are hurt. That hurts the chemistry of the team, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to overcome it as much as we thought we could.
I mean, isn't this more of a judgment on the team as a whole? I mean, that's what it is. It's not the best 22 out there. It's the best team in the country is what you're trying to be. And we've talked about the depth issue over the number of years because of all the attrition with the coaching changes and things like that. And now I thought I heard that we had that fixed to a degree, and lo and behold, a ton of injuries have occurred, and now those guys are forced out there to play, and there is a significant drop-off. So do we really have the depth? Are we really that complete team yet?
True, but here's the thing. I think you could have withstood getting to your second string, but you've gotten to third, fourth, literally fifth and sixth string at linebackers at point. At some point, nobody's going to be ready. Even Alabama, if you put in their fifth and sixth linebackers, they're going to be a drop-off at Alabama too. But I get your point. I just think maybe the injuries have been so much that it may have taken.
You know, and really my question is, it goes back to the attitude of this team. Did they hear the hype and think they were too much this year in the offseason when it was about re-earning this? And now we're finding out that that's what plays into this mentality of not really showing up for the first half. And yeah, maybe you can roll your hat out when you have your whole team healthy. You do lose guys, you can't roll your hat out anymore. But by the way, you've lost all that time to prepare and to get your mind right and to be in the off season to say what you have to do and earn it. And so now you've kind of lost it. So I mean, for me, it is a little bit of attitude of this team coming in. We asked, can they lead? Can they win when they're being chased and not the ones chasing?
The answer to that is no. Let me ask you this, Daniel. You didn't just lose players, you lost leaders. Now, they still have guys hobble out there on crutches. You know, Jalen Reeves-Maybin, Cam Sutton still team captains.
Right.
But it's not the same with them not on the field. How much does that impact your team attitude and chemistry? Would it be different if Sutton and Reeves-Maybin were still on the field?
I think it would.
Or Kurt Magid last year.
Right.
Same type thing.
I think it would, because the thing that you're losing is, one of the things Coach Jones told us when we first came in is, like, you don't know what you don't know. You got freshmen out there that literally don't know what they don't know. They don't know about team leadership. They don't know what it takes to win in the fourth quarter. They don't know what it means to 63 strain, which is what Coach Jones preaches all the time. And so when you take those guys off the team, now you got these leaders out. Now you're putting guys in that don't know what they don't know. And so they're just out here trying to wing it. And so that's why I think you literally grade Tennessee right now on two separate teams. It's like pre-Georgia and after Georgia because of the injuries.
One thing I want to say about injuries that I got to in the show, and I know nobody's going to misinterpret this. I'm not saying that he should have beaten Tennessee last night. He shouldn't. Will Muschamp should not be 5-0 against Tennessee. However, I do think it's a little wishful thinking to say he's the worst coach in the world. I think people forget he took over a dumpster fire at Florida.
Yep.
People forget what Urban Meyer left him. He went 11-1 down there. The fans didn't like it because it was all defense. So they turned on him when he's 11-1. The next year, he had this kind of injury, lost 13 starters, went 4-8. Tennessee's 5-3. He went 4-8. I'd love to see a chart on how many missed games per start. And then he came back and improved his last year, but they fired him anyway because he couldn't recover from 4-8. I don't think he's going to win championships at South Carolina. That's not what I'm saying. But it shows two things. One, injuries are real.
Yes.
All right? Also, I don't think he's as horrible as people make him out to be, especially as a defensive coach. Next tweet from Caleb W. Miller. I hope your show gets canceled. Well, okay. Thanks for watching, though. It helps us not get canceled. 14 years in a row, baby. Let's see. We got one from Bill Denbrough. This team is the same one we saw in the first game with the same dysfunctions they've had all year. Hard to argue. There are certain areas that's true.
Time to
very
hire
much true.
Joey Freshwater.
Joey Freshwater. Let's see. You guys are the best at UT sports, not politics. This is why I'm drawn to Sports Source TV, not political tweets.
I think
Did we
that's a
throw something
compliment.
in there?
Did we talk about anything political? I guess that's due to did somebody tweet something about Joey Freshwater?
I don't think so.
I don't know what that's in response. We didn't talk politics on the show unless somebody is just sitting there wanting to
I
hear
think he's
politics.
saying you're better than politics. That's why he watches it.
Oh, okay.
Better
Oh, got it.
Yeah, we agree. We're better than politics.
Thank you.
We agree.
Yeah.
Well,
Appreciate you
although this year, just color bars would be better than the current election we've got going on. All right. Wow. Art Briles is offensive coordinator. No, I don't think so. That guy's finished with the Wall Street Journal stuff that came out this week.
But we got one.
Are we being realistic? Aside from Derek Barnett and Alvin Kamara, who is hurt alongside Sutton and Maben, we are just an average team.
Offensive
I don't
line,
think
I
so.
agree.
Well, I don't think so. I think we've had injuries at key positions and key leaders not being on the field that hurts the chemistry of the team as a whole.
Well, let me ask you this, though. I mean, I took that tweet a little bit differently. With the injuries you have, are you an average team now? I mean, in the
That's
sense
what
of,
I'm thinking.
you started off the season, you're ranked and your expectations are this. You take the people that are injured out. What are you now? If you went into the season at the beginning without the guys you have now, what would you say your record was going to be?
And let's do that. Here's the thing. On defense, you went in, Cam Sutton and Jalen Reeves-Maben were two of your best three, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
They're gone. On offense, two of your best three, Kamara and Hurd. Hurd hadn't been the same all year, and Kamara's hurt, correct?
Yep.
Yes.
You take two out of the best three players on offense and defense off any team in the SEC, you're going to have a decline. Whether or not you should have as much decline as you have, I don't know. But that is, you didn't just lose players. You lost the guys that when people were doing their SEC, all SEC lists, when people were saying 10-2, most talent, these are the guys that did push you over the top.
Yep.
I think you become a 7-5, maybe an 8-4 prediction, which is kind of falling in line with what we talked about kind of in one of the last segments there. Where do
can
we
you
go
lose-
from here?
yeah,
How many
can you
more do
lose
we
another
lose?
game?
Yeah.
Jeremy Davis asks, any idea why Hurd has been so little involved lately? I think the fact that he goes in there and we said Friday on Sports Talk, what do you think they're going to do in the first quarter? You and I both said they're going to pound Jalen Hurd. That's what they do. And they did it. Didn't work. And then Hurd didn't come back in. I don't think he's checked out. I don't know why. He might be. But he hasn't been the same player all year. I think he's banged up. I've been told he's banged
I
up.
wonder how much that concussion is, because you notice the South Carolina game, he took a big hit where someone came out of nowhere and put him down again. So I'm wondering if that.
Easier to have a second one after you've had a first one and so on.
I don't know if you saw it. It was a
Yeah,
big monster.
that was a big blindside shot, too.
William Fred Beatty. Tennessee gets worse every week. Inadequate coaching, insufficient player development, poor talent recognition. I don't know about poor talent. Well,
I mean, put it this way. I mean, there's definitely some areas. I mean, we're Tennessee fans. We played here. We like Tennessee. But there's definitely some areas that you have to say in the offensive line, for instance, that you've been here a long time, and it's not gotten much better. I mean, it's on the back end of this league. I'll just be honest. It's not halfway. It's not average. It's in the below average area for this league.
And you question, at the start of the year, okay, well, if those are the five guys you're going to put out there, and those are who you're saying those are the best five, and then it's not, and you mix it up. I have no bearing on whether this is true or not. It may not be, but what's the attitude like in that room now? I mean, you've got guys that they were the guy named day one, and then they're pulled, and then they're put back in and pulled again. Are they really on board? I mean, are they? You'd be
a good
pretty,
question.
you'd be
That's
pretty
right.
angry. You think everybody thinks they're the best player and they should be out there playing, and they're mixing and matching. And at some point, you need the continuity. That's affecting them.
There have also been issues on the offensive line for the last couple of years about either I play or I leave, or I should be playing, or you and I are going to shove one another.
It happens when you're the guy on the
comes out.
sideline and you see the guy in front of you or who's replaced you mess up. You think, oh, I messed up, and they pulled me. They haven't pulled. It ends up becoming a cancer on the team, and it's the worst thing that can happen. I question, is that going on some there? Maybe messing with the chemistry.
One of my biggest things, I don't know if it's coming from top down or where it's coming, but there's someone that's telling, like Coach Mahoney, hey, this guy needs to start. And I think you've seen it in game 1 where Drew Richmond goes out there and he's not anywhere close to starting, and it messed up that whole sense of unity in the group. Because if you started, Brett Kendrick, Ja'Shawn Robertson, Dylan Wiseman, Jack Jones, and Chance Hall, if he wasn't hurt, they're able to build that unity going into each game. But what is coming down is, we got this five-star guy that's got to play this year. Let's put him in. Then he goes out there and lays an egg. And so I'm sitting there questioning.
Well,
I've seen this, but Will, I know where you're going. Go there.
You about to say, last year. Let's just talk about it. You started Jumper. Guy behind him, Kirkland, gets on the field, and is by far, you're just like, how did that guy get named the starter when that guy's behind him? Okay? And I mean, you see that a couple times. How does Alvin Kamara not get more touches throughout the year? It is obvious to anybody that watches football that you see a guy take the field and you go, what? Why are we not using that guy? I mean, there are some struggles there that you're just like, I don't understand, and I wish I did, but I can't wrap my mind around it.
Let me throw this one to Sterling. Doug Matthews and Philip Fulmer, your old coach, do a radio show. And I happened to catch it one day, and it was very good, of course. You'd think these guys know a little something. Doug Matthews pointed out that, they both agreed, I forget who said what, but they both agreed that assistants are always going to look at, they're saving their butts. So assistants are always going to look at the guy who's the safer bet. Who's the guy that knows the defense better? A Colton Jumper, for example. He's not going to make mistakes. Let's put him out there instead of Kirkland. And I believe it was Fulmer who did say, but it's the head coach's job to say, hold it. Talent wins. Talent trumps knowledge when in this game. Put the talent out there. So the head coach has to come to those assistants and say, go with the youth, go with the talent. I wonder if that happened and it backfired. But Sterling, your thoughts on, talk to me about this team in terms of its talent recognition. The guy mentions Dontavius Blair was recruited by a lot of people. Drew Richmond was recruited by a lot of people. I mean, Alabama wanted Drew Richmond. Do you have a problem? Do you think there are issues with talent recognition, or is it just sometimes guys need more time than others to develop, or some guys don't develop? What
I would like to do is address that comment about with Coach Fulmer and Coach Matthews first.
So this is a debate, and he's going to pivot.
No. I'm going to address both things to me. Coach Matthews and Coach Fulmer, let me tell you about those guys. They put the best guys on the field, period. So to hear them say they worried about some type of, maybe this guy not going to be worried about making on assignments, I know those guys personally. They put the best guys on the field. So talent will always be their first push. Now, getting to the situation for people developing talent. One thing I will say about the SEC, the SEC makes you a man. If you're not ready to be a man, what you did in high school just doesn't matter. If you get a guy out there that's not ready, and he was all 5-star all-world in high school, you get out there, he will get his confidence taken from his first time stepping across that line in the SEC. Anthony Munoz ended up being All-American, but he played his first game. I saw it, and trust me, I was glad he came off the field. There's a couple situations when Ramon Foster had to get in there for a 5-star guy. I'm glad Ramon Foster was there and was able to do what he did. He's still in the NFL now. Things happen in the SEC. You have to be a man, and everybody has to be a man before they cross that line.
Somebody sent me a tweet last night. I forget who it was, but they said they're putting in all this youth, but they don't look ready. They don't even look ready. Well, yeah, that's part of the problem. We had Mark Pankratz on last week, basketball coach. But I thought, all right, coach, he knows what it's like to lose people, to have to deal with injuries and people quitting and everything else. So I asked him, in terms of going next man up, how much of that is just BS, which I think it's BS. I know everybody says it. You have to say it if a coach. If you're a player, you have to believe it. It's BS. I mean, come on. There's a reason that Peyton Manning wasn't replaced by a backup quarterback on a bad day. he's still better. So it's not just next man up. This point, though, that Mark made, is very good. He said, when you're a coach, you've only got a limited amount of time during a week to work with these guys. How much time are you really going to spend with the guy who's fifth string that you never expect to get in the game versus the starter and the second string guy? I think that's been part of this case. A lot of people say, well, you're supposed to coach them all up. You can't. You can't coach them all up, and you've had so many injuries that you've got guys getting thrown in there that don't know how to communicate. They don't know what they're supposed to be doing. The guys who would be telling them, stand here, move here, they're hurting out. You've lost those guys, the very guys who are your leaders. They're supposed to coach them up. Okay, I'll give you that for your second string. Sorry, once you get past third and fourth string, I don't expect anybody to have these guys coached up. Am I full of crap there, or do you agree?
Well, no, I think that's right.
Will's shaking his head. He thinks I'm full of crap.
But I'll put it this way, and not everybody's going to have this mentality, but there's nothing preventing that third or fourth string player from walking through that coach's door. That door's always open. I know the coach is limited in what they can force you to do, but you can take it on your own ambition and go in that room and make sure I know the playbook. I may not be the biggest, strongest, fastest guy because I'm 18 years old and I've got 23-year-olds over here. But by God, I can know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, but they're young.
Next
And they're
man-
young. I know. Not everybody's going to do that.
But next man up is not about what the coaches are supposed to be ready to do. It's about what the player is supposed to be ready to do. It's about the player saying, I'm one ankle sprain away from being the starter.
Yeah.
I'm 2 ankle sprains of being the starter, so I'm going to learn it. I look at next man up is about a personal recognition of what's my job on this team if I'm third string.
But my point is this: you've admitted on this show as well. You better play as a senior or freshman.
Oh yeah, yeah, a ton
So
better.
I mean, you can be as ready, you can want it
Right.
as much as you. Once you get to a level,
Yeah, it's
you're
a
just not
drop.
gonna-
It's a drop.
there's going to be a drop.
But I think it's preparation's on you. I mean, you can't expect a coach to get you prepared for every single game. If you do, you're not going to last long at all.
But one thing I think all of you guys, especially you defensive guys, the speed of the game is way faster than the speed of practice. So you have to get acclimated to the speed of the game.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
Well, I think that's on the coaches to make sure that practice is as close to the game as
Because when
possible. I mean, I can tell you different. Randy Sanders, great guy, great coach. I'd have my son play for him. I'd go play for him again. But I tell you what, when David Cutcliffe came back in, practice was different. Practice was like a game. Practice was not fun.
Yeah.
It was hard.
No.
The games got easy.
Yeah, the practices and scrimmages against our fronts were faster than games.
Our crew's going to revolt if we don't end this thing and say goodnight. But I do want to say, remember back before the season when everybody said, just beat Florida and I'll be happy? It was a long, long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was a long time ago. Long time ago. All right. Thanks to David Ligon, Will Overstreet, Daniel Hood, Sterling Hinton. Skinny here, slim. And we will see you next Thursday on Fox 43 for the Sports Source kickoff. Next Sunday, right back here, well, right on Channel 6, not here on Sports Source TV. But we'll see you on Channel 6 next Sunday at 11. Bye-bye.